What's up, guys? Chris Michael here.
Shane Patrick Cruz, welcome to another edition of the Slightly More podcast. Tell everybody what we're talking about today.
So today we wanted to help you guys figure out how to know what your target market is. As a performer, you've got lots of options, everything from birthday parties to product launches, corporate events, trade shows. It's just almost limitless, and a lot of guys feel like they have to do everything, and it's okay to do everything. But we're going to tell you how you know where to spend your time and attention and make it more worth your time pursuing one of those avenues as opposed to many.
Absolutely. And we are in Divine Magic and Novelty right here in Richmond, Virginia, our home magic shop.
Claim
home
to
away
fame.
From home.
We think that this is true. If we're not, you can correct us. And we know Tannins and Phantasma, they're still out there. But this is probably the last standalone brick-and-mortar magic shop in the country.
In the entire U.S. And like true magic shop. When I say true magic shop, you can't see because we're against the window, but on this side of us is literally a wall of magic and cases full of magic. And then there's also like potions and tarot cards
spell books.
Spell books and like gems and rocks and things.
I stay away from that side, but who am I to judge?
Incense that's personally made by the owner, Hunwu.
Yeah.
So this actually is an incredible, like, true magic shop to the sense of true magic. So
and it's also got
really incredible.
The props and stuff over here on this side of it, like the actual magic with the C, not magic with the K side. It's got stuff dating back. I mean, there's original props from the 60s.
Yeah.
There's like legendary things in here that you can't find probably anywhere else in the world.
And then just stuff that I started coming in this shop probably 25 years ago, and there are still items that are in here that were in here in like 25 years ago. So pretty incredible. Okay, so Chris probably took the traditional route when getting into magic, as far traditional in the sense of what environment he was performing in.
Right. That's the one thing I did pretty stereotypically. Like I've broken the mold on a lot of ways of being a magician as a career, but I did kind of follow the typical path of finding your market, and I did kind of progress upwards from birthday parties into private parties for adults into corporate. So anyway.
Yeah, and whereas I just absolutely refuse to do kids' birthday parties or the kids' market. It's just not to say that I don't like kids. I do, but Tony Fazzelli, the other character we're developing now, hates kids. But me personally, I love kids. I just don't love performing for them. It's just not my thing. So that might not have been the best decision business-wise for me to do. Because it probably has set me back a couple of years, and it's going to take me a little longer to get to a quote-unquote successful point in my business. But it's just, that's just who I am, and I just don't, I want to be true to who I am and what I personally enjoy doing.
I can see the comments and DMs now. People are going to come at Shane saying, "Oh, but if you don't like performing for kids, you're just not doing it right." But well, here's the thing.
Oh yeah.
It's okay to not do something because you don't enjoy it. It doesn't mean you can't captivate them or it's too tough for you. It just means you don't enjoy it. Like I don't enjoy mowing my lawn. There are people who love it.
I do.
Maybe I'm not mowing my lawn right.
I do.
You love mowing your lawn?
Yeah, I do actually.
No, you do not.
I really do.
I will.
I really do.
That's where I'm like, no.
I love push more, and I love weed eating.
You don't even use a rider.
I mean, if I have to.
No.
But I really enjoy, on a complete side note, but yeah.
Anyway, so because of this, Shane, like he and I respect him a lot for this. He's so stuck in his way of I don't want to perform for kids shows because he feels like he's working backwards in that way because he knows what he's going after.
Yeah.
And it might be in some ways, like you said, it is in some ways maybe not a good business decision because you are leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
But I mean
I'm leaving. So here's the money that I'm leaving on the table. Chris literally has told me before, if you would just do kid shows, I could literally hand you a full 30 show a month schedule that would keep you busy nonstop, and you would make money. And I just don't want to. I just not. I'll give you an example why this is not what I want to do. I had a friend of mine who is the scout leader for Tiger Scouts, right? So they're like between 4 and 6 years
Tiger
old,
Scouts
right?
are rare, man. I always hear Eagle Scouts and Cub
Right,
Scouts.
yeah,
and all
the
that
little
for
ones. So
Cub Scouts.
Yeah. So the Tiger Scouts are
Yeah.
before the Cub Scouts.
What?
So
That
they're like 4 to 6 years old.
Did
So a
not know
good
that.
friend of mine is here in Hopewell is the scout leader for them, right? And so he contacted me about a year and a half ago and said, "Hey, listen, they're issuing a magic badge that you can put on your whatever it is, the
Sash.
yeah, yeah. So they're issuing a magic bat or a magic sash, and so the kids have to perform 2 or 3 tricks. Would you come in and perform for them and kind of speak to them about what you do and that sort of thing?" And I was like, ugh,
Did you do it?
yeah, I was like, yeah, man, because
Yeah,
I've
you
known
did
him
it.
for a long
Right,
time,
right. Help him out.
and it was the most brutal
Oh,
45 minutes that I've ever done in my entire life. I literally, I don't know if you remember this or not, but I literally called you, I think the day or two after that, and was like, hats off to you, man. Applause to you, because I do not know how you do this for a living,
oh,
performing for kids, because
yeah.
they just don't give a crap. Like,
They'll tell you.
they will tell you, they will tell you you're bad. They will tell you if you flash. They literally just don't have patience
It's
for
funny
you.
because I love
So
that man. I listen. I don't give him any time. I don't put any time in my kid show for them to come up with that stuff. And even if they say it, it works against them in a way. So
yeah,
it's
which I'm not. I like me. I
yeah.
just want to be like, come here, little. So
No,
like,
no, he doesn't mean
I
that.
do, which is why the Tony Fazzelli character
He
is
said
so
I do.
good. So
Well, so what's interesting about that is you're right, Shane. Like, so for instance, I think about this as in terms of musicians and artists, right? Like, you're not gonna see. Okay, I'm literally just coming up with this with the top of my head, so I don't know why 50 Cent is the person who popped in my head. But you're not gonna see 50 Cent being like, "Oh, I can make X amount of money performing for making kid songs. Oh yeah, I might as well just do that so I can make more money." No,
right,
because that's not his market. That's not who he decided to go for, and that's
yeah,
not what he excels in. And that works perfectly into where we're going with this, which is we need to make sure that you guys understand that there's a difference between being able and capable to do something and spending your time and energy on it. I am
right,
fully capable of doing birthday parties 30 times a month and packing my schedule full of that. In fact, that'd be easier for me to do. But as I've learned what I enjoy doing more and where I'm able to put more of my time and my energy and where I'm able to best service people, I've learned that there are other guys who can fulfill that role just as good as I can, so I can focus on things that other people may not be able to do as good.
yeah,
And that's one of the things that I'm going to ask you guys to consider. When you are sitting at home and you're coming up with tricks from material, or if you're like me and you think of business plans, where do you feel that you can provide the most value for people? Where do you think other magicians are missing the mark? If you feel like that gut, I remember this gut wrenching feeling, and that's always how I knew what market I was going. Is like, where do I feel the most frustrated with other performers? Like, where do I feel like they're like there's something I have that they just cannot wrap their minds around? For a while, those birthday parties. I'm like, why are guys showing up acting like a magician? Like, show up and act like the kid's best friend from school, and like, hang out with him, do a show with him, make them laugh, hang out with the parents, like have some pizza with them. That's where I was like, I want to do that. Now there are guys who are doing that, right? I don't know whether if I've paved the way for some of them, or if some of my buddies are like literally since you passed up on the take a career on a platter. I've split it up amongst 3 other magicians and
yeah,
turned them full time. But
yeah,
now I've got people who I think are sufficient in there, and then now I'm looking at like corporate entertainers, and I just feel that there's a lot of room where people are missing the mark and not adding as much value as they could, and not thinking as big as they can. And it's bothering me to see these companies try to market in ways that don't work. And I'm like, hey, have me help you market your events. And anyway, you can tell I'm passionate about it, and that's where I know I want to put my attention. So listen to your gut feeling, and where do you feel that you can provide the most value, and go there. And know that not every decision is totally permanent.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. The corporate market is what I wanted to enter into, just because I come from a business background. I've owned a couple businesses in the last 10 years. And so I just knew that the corporate market was what I wanted to enter into. I also knew that I could make more money doing less shows than I would
Mm,
as a birthday magician. I mean,
right.
you have to do. I mean, the average birthday magician cost is anywhere from $300 to $500 for an hour, right?
Yeah.
That's the average cost. But I can make triple that in the same amount of time. Doing corporate stuff. So part of it is a monetary value that's attached to it, and the other part is I just enjoy performing for the corporate environment. And so now it's the advantage of starting in the kid shows is obviously the kids have parents. the parents work for companies. Those companies might need corporate parties, which is exactly how Chris
Right.
transitioned into the corporate market.
And they
But
call
it's
that
because
working
of
the
that.
ladder. So it's working the
Right.
ladder. So starting with a kid show, marketing that to a holiday or like maybe a dad's birthday party. Then
Right.
he has a job, so you go to do their holiday party. Then you do their trade show, and it's a kind of a lateral thing where you climb up this ladder. However, I wanted to something you said just want to make me jump to this point real quick that you can also consider where you want to spend your time. I know guys who are school performers for no other reason other than the fact that they can have weekends off with their family.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
this is something I totally didn't even think to come across in this podcast, but it's totally important to mention because I don't have my own family. Like I got my immediate like my mom and my brothers, but I don't have like like kids and a wife and stuff. So I'm in a fortunate position where that isn't a constraint for me. But obviously, if you're getting into this when you already have kids and a wife and responsibilities outside of your career, that's going to really dictate where you can spend your time. You know, corporate's usually going to leave your Sundays open, but keep you busy during the week. A birthday par- or sorry, a birthday party magician is going to be busy Friday through Sunday, pretty much back to back to back to back. And the weekdays he's got to do office work, and maybe he has a couple of days during the week off. A school performer, it's the exact opposite. Weekends off. So that's something that you really want to consider too. You know, make it kind of a conglomerate, like add all these little pieces together and weigh the pros and cons of each different tactic we're telling you on how to find your market, and then that's really how you can nail into it. I kind of cut you off there, but I think it was super important to come to because I
Yeah.
did not plan to talk about that.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, I think we're both. Well, Chris is more defined in his trajectory of where he wants to go than I currently am. Um, excuse me. But like for instance, I want to do theater shows. It's really hard to four-wall a show. It's probably much easier to do corporate work than it is theater work, at least for what we've kind of seen. Um, and but there again, it's like, wow, do I want to do theater stuff or do I want to? Like, I really would love to do theater shows like that. I really love doing theater shows, but it's
Well, Shane likes
easier in a sense to still go the corporate route, and maybe down the road, once there's kind of been a enough of a name developed around the
right.
corporate market to then move into the theater shows because now you have an audience. If you've performed all over DC in the corporate market, now you can just send out a mass email to all of those people saying, "Hey, I'm doing a public theater show for you guys. It's a different show, and we'd love to have you out there." And now there's people that believe in you, so you have a little bit more of a chance to pack that theater out than you would if you were to just come into it cold.
Right. So Shane, he knows where his target market is in a way because he wants to build experiences for people. He wants to pull people into his mind and take the thoughts that he has and let people experience that. For me, that's never really been a big concern. Yeah, I want people to experience my personality and the energy that I bring to things, but I've always been good at winning people over, connecting people. Um, and actually, just yesterday, I had a guy come to my house who we used to live close by freshman year. He's like, Chris, he's like, I remember everybody that we hang out with today connected and grew together because of you. And I remember like I took a step back and realized that is literally what my job is. Like I did it unintentionally my whole life and now that's my job. So I know that is my core strength. As a magician, what is your core strength? Like Shane, it's his creativity, hands down. Like the way that he can tell a story, like his storytelling. Like even in close up, when you do walk around, you love the storytelling.
Yeah,
That's your
yeah,
strength. My strength is connecting people. So that doesn't really lend itself well to a theater environment. I would love to do theater shows, and I'm not canceling them out. I do theater shows, but it's not where I need to put my time and energy. Maybe as a magician, your strength is making people laugh. You can do that in any situation. You just got to find people who are looking to laugh. You're not going to be doing high end sales meetings. Maybe you can learn how to market yourself to those people, but um, can you help me articulate this? What are some other examples of things beyond the actual magic itself? Hey, beyond the magic. That's our YouTube series. Beyond the actual magic itself, that you think can lend itself to being in a different environment. Like for me, connecting people. For you, storytelling. For some people, the comedy,
well, it's
prop
this
development.
right. So it's connection, building relationships with people. Um, Events. Being an event expert is a big one. Those are things that just all translate to outside of actually performing.
Yeah, maybe you got into magic because you loved helping people work through problems. You teach somebody a trick on stage, they learn it, and they do it in front of a crowd, and you love that. Maybe that lends itself to being in magic camps and libraries and things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe your skill set is building props, like our friend Michael Keating. He's
Hmm.
now the guy who goes to Star Wars conventions and works with The Walking Dead and says, "Hey, you need something built? I'll build it for you and perform it." And that's now his niche. So I think one thing that I've never heard any other podcast talk about, and this is the real gold of this, is two things. What do you, well, I'm going to go through a list. It's going to be more than two things. What do you like to do? Okay. Where do you feel you have that gut wrenching feeling that you can provide something for them? And what is it within that has something deeper than the magic that you love to fulfill? So, I mean, with those three things, you can really help flesh out where you want to go. And I think you could do some of your own research on what markets exist for that. And one thing I want to mention real quick is they don't have to be the typical corporate kid shows, family shows. You can really spell it out. You can be we were talking about this the other day. You could be the Star Trek magician.
Yeah.
You can be the guy who performs for water cleaning companies magician. The more niche that you are, the better off you're going to do. But picture the person in your mind who you like performing for. What's your best audience member you've ever had? What's your best client you've ever had? What did they wear? What did they talk about? Where do they spend their free time? Who do they hang out with? Once you know that, and you feel comfortable being around a room full of people like that, you have to find out what do those people do for events and how can you service them. So fill out the little cheat sheet of here's my favorite type of audience member. Ask yourself, would you be comfortable being surrounded by a whole entire audience of them? And then where do you need to market yourself to be in front of a lot of them? If you love that kid with the brand new Nikes and the hoodie who is athletic, maybe you're going to perform for soccer teams and birthday parties for sporty kids.
Yeah. What are your feelings on promoting all different kinds of environments on your website?
Love that question. I did that for a long time, and I actually thought I'm ignoring the rules and doing it my own way. And the truth is, you can do that, and you will get high volume work, and you will get every type of show, but you will get paid lower.
Yeah.
You will get
But
paid
you don't have a
lower.
specialty. You're not
Yeah.
specializing in any one thing.
And you listen, if you're listening to this and you think, oh, well, I market every event on my website, I get lots of different events, and I get paid a lot. That's not true because I thought I was getting paid $1,000, $1,500 for shows when I was marketing them all together, and I was like, wow, that's a lot of money. But now that I'm super niche and I literally control what people see to the point where if you're looking for a product launch, I will send you a website specifically for product launch magic,
Hmm.
and that can close like I don't want to like say exact numbers, but that can close 5-figure deals like that compared to having to bargain and struggle for $300 because they don't think you know enough about their specific needs.
I think here's an issue too, based on perception of value. If you are trying to go mainly for the corporate market, for instance, me, and I put on my website that I do kids shows magic, to me, I would think that a client will look at that and devalue my performing and my show and my monetary value over someone that is specifically a corporate performer because they're looking at. Here's the issue that we run into most of the time, actually all the time, is the client thinking that a magician is coming in and they're going to be the cheesy magician with the top hat and the cape,
Ponytail, sequin
yeah,
vest,
all of that, right?
making bunnies out of hats.
So when you're trying to be a corporate magician and you come in and you have the kid show magic on there, they go, this guy's not legit. This guy can't perform for a room full of engineers or doctors because he's out here doing silly kid show magic. So
And
they instantly want to pay you less.
one thing
So,
I'll find out is even if you're doing corporate shows, like if you say I do sales teams, I've literally been like, oh yeah, like what are your past clients? And I'll send them, oh well, Capital One and the World Bank, and they go, oh no, we're not bankers here. We are top tier engineers. We need somebody who's comfortable performing for engineers and high quality, like high end audience members. And it just clicked in my head. I'm like, literally, if I would have told this guy any of the engineering firms I would have worked for,
Yeah.
he would have been sold on it. It's just like for me, like I feel more comfortable knowing that right now the guy who is taking care of my car works on the same exact model of my car all the time.
Yeah.
Literally, I would feel, even though I know he's a true professional and he is like the best at what he does in detailing, if he doesn't work with my exact car so often, I still would have a little feeling in my stomach, just a little off feeling that he wouldn't be able to handle it as perfectly as a shop who only did that one type of car.
Yeah.
That's why dealerships are more expensive because they only service their cars. They're not. I mean, maybe yeah, maybe they are more expert, like more expertise, have more expertise than any other repair shop or dealership. But I mean, with enough time and resources and practice, you can be an expert in any field, and you can be an expert in multiple fields. I think about this stuff from morning till night every day for the
Me
past
too.
4 years,
Yeah.
and there's enough time for me to learn how to be an expert in corporate and an expert in birthday parties. But people who assume I'm just working 9 to 5 and don't really care about my job that much and just getting by, they're not going to think I can be an expert in both, you know?
Yeah. What else? Anything else that we might have missed?
Yeah, I think the real nuggets in this podcast are right in that middle when we talk about those 3 ways to know. I just want this to be an open conversation, and I know a lot of our podcasts are step by step. Here's how you actually do something, word for word. I don't want that to be this. I just want to open your guys' mind to some different possibilities, some different things to consider. And you know what? Yes, let me just talk about this, and then we'll end this. It's not permanent, okay? You can have an awesome website marketed for kids, and you don't have to spend tons of money and time redoing it all the time. But when you feel that you're moved in a direction, don't be afraid to change that website, redesign it, print new cards, spend a
Yeah.
little bit of money to rebrand. Because if you're going to do it for 3 to 5 years in a new market, that's going to help you be fully involved in it so you can get the most out of it. You're not
Yeah.
going to get the most out of being a corporate performer if you're doing a bunch of other stuff too. You really got to sink into it deep to really get a good feel
Yeah.
if it's a fit for you.
Yeah. I think that's good.
Awesome. Well, thanks guys for tuning in to Slightly More Podcast. We've got a lot of other podcast episodes that we encourage you to go back and listen to. They can be found on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. Chris Michael, you got to Google Chris Michael Magic to find it. And then Shane, where can they find your stuff?
ShanePatrickCruz.com.
What a great name. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Please.